Hi there, welcome back to this refurbishment series of a lovely old 1939 Brown Junior spark ignition engine, and I've got the components of which I've got in front of me in various piles. Now hopefully you've seen the previous videos on this kind of restoration refurbishment. The first video I dismantled it and assessed what the problem was. It was quite a tricky dismantling because these Brown Juniors are screwed up really tight, and it was quite a tense moment getting it apart because I was worried I was going to do some damage. But once I'd got it apart, I found that the conrod was very badly bent, and it bent in two places, and the wrist pin, which I think is either brass or more probably bronze, is in two pieces. So in the last video I made a new conrod, which I'm really pleased with and fits lovely. Now in this video I'm going to be making a new gudgeon pin or wrist pin. The existing pin and the hole in the conrod is 1/8 of an inch, so we're going to use, and the piston isn't worn at all. It's a really nice, still a nice fit for 1/8 silver steel, which is what I'm going to be using. So 1/8 silver steel, and I've got some 1/8 brass, and I'm going to make the bulk of the pin in the silver steel, and I'm going to case harden it, and I'm going to make some little brass plugs on the end so that the silver steel, the case hardened silver steel, doesn't do any damage to the cylinder bore if it's not, because it's a free floating pin, and if it moves to one side or the other it could start scoring the bore, which we really don't want to happen. So first thing to do is cut a length of this silver steel, and we'll get it squared up or faced up, and then we'll put some holes in either end for the little brass pins that we're going to make either end. Right, well, I've now got my pin made up out of the silver steel with the holes in the ends, which you can just about see, and I've got my two brass plugs for the end. So what I'm going to do, and there's the broken one, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to case harden this, and then we'll fit the brass plugs. Right, so I'm going to case harden my gudgeon pin, which I've got hanging there on a bit of music wire, thin music wire, so that I can get a nice even heat on it. I'm going to be using my propane torch, or butane torch, and this is the case hardening powder that I'm going to be using. Now, I'll put a link in the description below where you can get this, and I'm not going to be covering that in detail because essentially I'm just following the instructions, so, and to the letter. And I put some of the powder in a metal tin there rather than putting it in something hot in this plastic container. So I will get on and do that now, and we'll have a look once it's done. Right, well, I've now got my pin hardened, and it just needs polishing up a little bit now. I mean, it still feels quite smooth, to be honest. It doesn't feel lumpy or anything. When you quench it in the water, all the case hardening comes off. So I'm just going to put that in the lathe now. Just going to pinch it up very gently, and I'm going to use some 120 grit, wet and dry, and I will put a drop of oil on it actually, and we'll just see how that goes. It might be I need something a little bit coarser, or it might be something I need something a little bit harsher. We'll see how this goes. Just wind that out of the way. Just keeping this on a flat, just to hopefully my hand isn't in the way there. Let's have a look at that. See what that looks like. It's starting to come up quite nice. Oh, that's good. Oh, I'm pleased with that, and that feels quite smooth. What I might do is turn that around now. I've got some 3000 grit somewhere, so I'll probably do it with that next. But that's good. So I'll get that done, and then we'll put the pins in. Right, now I've got my wrist pin, gudgeon pin, which is lovely and bright and shiny, and I'm really pleased with that. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get these brass caps on, but first of all I'm going to put just a tiny little bit of this Loctite 641. It's a medium strength, but it's good up to 250 degrees C, and it will do the job perfectly for these. I mean, it would be okay just to push them in, I think, because they're a really tight fit, but once I push them in I want to machine them, so it needs to be in fairly strong. The other option would be to use CA or something, but I think I've got this, so I'm going to use it. Right, I'm ready now to push at least one of the plugs in and then turn it around and do the other one. I'm going to do them separately. I'm going to put the plug in the end with a bit of Loctite on, and I'm going to use the jaw vise to push it in. If it damages the brass a little bit, mars it a little bit, it doesn't matter because I'm going to machine it. The end I want to protect is the end that I'm not putting the plug into yet, hence I'm going to put it against this wood. Of course I'll then turn it round and put the other one in. So we just get some Loctite on this, and hopefully we'll get it in without much trouble. I might just see if I can start it off by pushing it on the table just to get it pushed home a little bit. Yes, I've done that. So now hopefully this will go in nice and square. block of wood is moving, which isn't helpful. There we go. There. Yes, now that has gone in nice. I found that quite stressful. So what we'll do is we'll get the other one done now and then wait for them to dry and we can machine it. Actually, after I'd stopped filming that, I noticed there was just a very slight gap. So what I did is I used this metal block to put against to protect this end, because it's a nice smooth block, and I pushed it in again and it went home a lot better. One of the problems with this wood, wherever the hole is there, it wasn't allowing enough pressure because the rod was just slipping into it. So I'll get the other one done now. Right, I've now got that one ready to push in, and I'm just going to tighten this up in the vise because I don't need to worry about sort of marring the ends a little bit. Yes, lovely. Really pleased with that. So I'm going to leave that now for the Loctite. I need to, can't remember how long it takes to go off, but I'll have a look at that. To be honest, they were pressed in so tight, they probably I don't need to wait for the Loctite. And maybe I didn't even need the Loctite, but anyway. Right, well, it's time to get this gudgeon pin finished. It's had overnight, not quite 24 hours, but about 18-20 hours, something like that, for the Loctite to go off, to set, which is, I think 24 hours is 100% maximum strength. I'm gonna go really gently with this because I really don't want to mess it up. So I've made sure my cutting tool is really sharp, and I'm not tightening this up too tight because I don't want to mar the pin itself. I could try and wrap it in something, but that would alter the concentricity of it. So I'm just going to take some really fine cuts and get this done. Right, I've got that end cleaned up. It still needs a final polishing, but what I want to do, it might need a little bit more off the brass cap. But what I want to do is the other end first, because I know how long this needs to be, and I don't I don't want to take off too much. Yeah, we've got about 1.5 mil to come off it, which should be fine. But I'll probably come back to that end and just take a touch off it. But we'll just get that in there and machine up this end now. So I'm just cleaning up this end with this very fine needle file, Swiss needle file, just to make sure that it's nicely domed and smooth. I'm realising at this point that actually having collet chucks would be a really good option for this kind of fine work, for the concentricity. It's not bad this lathe, to be honest. I'm quite pleased with it. But when you're doing stuff of this size, it really would make a difference, but I don't have one, so I'm working with this 3-jaw chuck, and to be honest, it's going to be absolutely fine. I'm really pleased with the way it's going. Right, now this is looking really nice. I've got a piece of 2500 grit on a piece of tool steel here, and I'm just going to use this just to finish this off. I mean, I've been doing it already and it's starting to look really polished. Right, I'm just going to finish this off with some 3000 grit and just a little bit of oil. See if we can get a nice shine on it. Right, well there we have the finished pin, and it's surprising how much work and stress is involved in getting this this pin finished, but it fits into here really nicely. It's a lovely snug fit, just enough room for some oil, and look, no wiggle at all, so that will be really nice. And also in the piston, and that fits really nicely in there. So what I'm going to do now is we'll get this together and we'll have a look at it assembled. Wow, I am so pleased with this. I mean, it's lovely and free on the rod, really nice, and there is very little, well, there isn't any sideways movement allowed on that. It's a really nice tight fit, and I can't feel any movement by pushing it up and down. That is just, to my mind, it's just fantastic. Really pleased with that. So I can't wait now to get this engine built up. Well, it is so good to get this gudgeon pin finished, and to be honest, it's surprising how much work there is in a simple gudgeon pin like this. And I'm so pleased that I didn't tag it onto the video where I made the conrod, and I did it as a separate video. And I hope you've enjoyed seeing this and how I've done it. I'm not a professional machinist, I'm learning as I go. So if you see things that you don't particularly like, then let me know. I'm always willing to learn. Like I say, I'm very new at machining, and I'm enjoying it immensely. So anyway, I'm one step closer now to getting this lovely 1939 Brown Junior engine back up and running. Now in the next video I'm going to be pulling together the engine, and I think everything needs a really good clean because I've had wet and dry paper files and all kinds of stuff around this engine now, and I don't want to introduce anything abrasive into the engine that's going to do any damage. So anyway, I'll draw this video to a close now. Thanks very much for watching, and as I say, please come back, see how we get on pulling this lovely engine back together.